So, in a few more days it's gonna be Passover, Pesach, and now I wanna tell you a different story from a different perspective, something that came out. How did it start? So one day I was going around with friends in a sort of a trip, and we were in the place where the tombs of the Maccabim are. So we went to this place and we were just touring around, being tourists, taking some pictures. On a certain point I found on the floor some weird object, something that nobody really understand. Everybody was asking, what is it, what is it, what is it, what is it? And basically it looked like bread, but it wasn't. It looks a little bit synthetic. I thought was this material, you know, you put in between the wall to make insulation in the houses. It was not synthetic because it was full of bugs that were trying to eat it. They were trying to eat it. Notice the ones that were starting eating it, they were falling asleep. They were all sleeping inside. So many different species of bug, at least 30. And it actually looked like a kind of crystal with some air inside and bugs inside, a different impurity. So a part of it on the back was kind of rotten, was starting to rot, and so I took out the rotten part, I kept the good part, and with the good part I started to just grind it. As I ground it, it took me an hour and a half to grind all of it. All this impurity fell out and all the bugs were taking life and flying around. So once this happened, I thought, wait a second, I heard about this story. This thing has no taste, you put in your mouth, you get every taste. When you burn it, it smells like this fried cookie with honey. And this story sounds familiar. I thought it was the man min hashamayim, the manna from heaven. It might be it. So in the point, he opened my eyes and I thought, wait a second, the story might be different. How was the story of Passover? So there's Moses that goes out of Egypt, he's very upset, sees this burning bush that doesn't consume, this sounds weird, the ground sounds weird, it's holy, he has to take off his shoes, he sees God, and he gets back all the Jews that are in Israel as slaves. Now, the story, if this was the man, changed a little bit much. Why? Because the holy ground could be this kind of crystal, just bigger all around the bush. And if this is the same crystal, then I had to do once it's get hitten by a burning bush, for instance, and it evaporates, it really feels like DMT. And that's why the bush doesn't consume, because if you look at it and you inhale DMT in the moment, what happens is that, wow, you're in another place, you look for 40 years. He said the Midrash, a story that the Jew passed through orally, and he says that he was looking at the bush and he saw all the history. He could see the past of the people, the future of the people of the world. He was kind of astral projection. He was having a kind of psychedelic revelation. So this might change the story, because it starts with a shaman that gets a psychedelic substance, probably DMT. He has this projection, he sees God, he sees the face of God, and he comes back with a new knowledge, something that today is not too hard for understand for many people. So with this knowledge, what he says, say guys, we are. It actually doesn't say the word slave, it's translated with slave. The word in Hebrew is avdim, which means we are employees. Why you should be employees, why you can be free. And that's the concept of the holiday of Pesach, of Passover, because the point is, everybody was complaining, wait a second, yes, I'm working 12 hours a day, I can't deal with it anymore, they're giving me lashes, today we get parking ticket, it's the same, it's taking our energy, our source of life, that today we translated in money, and this is what we serve to go on. So maybe there's the shaman of the case, they find this substance and say, I want my people to take it for 40 years. 40 years is also the same amount of time that is required from the Buddhist monk to reach nirvana. So there's something in common all around the world about this 40 years waiting for having this revelation, and all the people was eating man every day, twice in Shabbat, to spend then the night, savoring the creation and understanding, and say everybody could see this Shekhinah, this cloud, they could have vision in this cloud that was making these geometrical shapes, and it really sounds like a different story in this way. And I would like to go on, continue, but there are a few questions. First of all, why would they found something like the man in the Maccabi's tomb? What happened there? Why it should have been fallen over there? Another question is, what have I seen when I tried to inhale these substances that I found in the wood that felt like falling from the sky, because there was actually nothing around that I can say, okay, someone put it here, and there was a lot. I think in grams we're talking about at least 20 kilos. I just took a small piece, I lost most of it, but it was kind of a big deal. Beside that, the story continues. Please follow. פסח כשר ושמח.